But there's an important principle at stake, which is about the democracy and the democratic mandate given to the Scottish Parliament that must be defended. A two-thirds majority passed the gender recognition bill in the Scottish Parliament. MSPs from every single political party supported it.
And during the SNP leadership campaign, Kate Forbes memorably said that continuity won't cut it. Now that the continuity candidate has won, what will he do differently? Let's speak to the MSP NeilGray, who was Humza Yousaf's campaign manager. Morning to you.
Good morning.
Um, Congratulations to you, first of all. You clearly won a successful campaign. Your guy won. But 52 to 48, would you admit that that was a little bit more narrow than perhaps is comfortable?
It was close. It was a close campaign. We expected it to be close because obviously we respect Kate's platform that she was pitching. She had a very credible and successful campaign. The job now that Humza has, having won the election, is to unite the party, unite the movement, and form a government that can be successful in taking forward the people's priorities here in Scotland. And we recognise that as being the cost of living crisis and also independence, which we have to recognise the cost of living crisis is absolutely tied up in the constitutional argument for independence. We are an energy-rich country in Scotland, and yet so many of our people are in fuel poverty. That is because we do not have the levers over the energy market or to fully utilise our energy potential.
Now, Kate Forbes and Humza Yousaf admitted during the Times radio leadership debate that not enough groundwork had been done by Nicola Sturgeon to boost the case for independence. What can Humza Yousaf actually do that's different, or are we going to see the same script because there is no other script?
So I think Nicola Sturgeon needs to be thanked by all of us for the legacy that she leaves to Humza Yousaf, which is an incredibly successful platform of electoral success and an incredibly successful policy platform as well. And in terms of continuity, I think what you will see from Humza is continuity of progressive policy to take us through to the next elections, which will be about trying to make sure that we continue to earn and re-earn the trust of the people of Scotland. And in terms of what Humza will do differently, he's already said that he will be his own man, he'll have his own leadership style. He will look to utilise the talent across the party and across the movement
The big
in a
tent
big tent,
idea. Yeah.
in a big tent approach. He will be looking to make sure that he fully utilises the talent that he has at his disposal.
Will that include Kate Forbes and Ash Regan?
So there are conversations to be had about government going forward and the makeup, the structure, and those that are involved in government. And I'll leave it to Humza to have those conversations over the coming days.
I'm still not completely clear, and it's your opportunity, really, I suppose. I'm sure Humza Yousaf will speak for himself in the next few days about how you do boost that support for independence, because that, of course, cost of living and public service is very important. But independence is what SNP supporters, people who agree with independence, who want independence, that's what they want. They want a route to independence. And I'm sure you're right to say that Nicola Sturgeon should be thanked. However, when you look at the levels of support for independence from 2014 and the levels today, there's not a huge amount of difference between them. So what I want to know is, how is Humza Yousaf going to move that dial?
So we're at a tipping point for independence. All the polls show sometimes yes is marginally in the lead, sometimes no. We're at a tipping point. And I think what is needed now is for us to finish the updated prospectus in government, for the party to mobilise behind that, and for us to get out as a movement and speak to the people about the need for independence, the urgent need for independence. I've spoken about the cost of living crisis, the fact that we don't have all the levers across the economy in order to respond to that, and the fact that we have an energy-rich country and yet we have people in fuel poverty. That is a dichotomy that we cannot accept any longer. We cannot afford not to be independent. So it's about building that movement, re-energising that movement, and persuading people of the merits and the need for independence, getting us to that sustained majority support for independence, whereby the process then takes care of itself.
Okay, one of the very divisive issues, there were many, but one of them, of course, is gender reform. J.K. Rowling, I'm sure you know, has tweeted Humza Yousaf is the kid who just saw the skater in front of him disappear through the ice, but yells, "Watch me, everybody," while wobbling straight for the hole. Is Humza Yousaf going to have a different approach to the GRR bill? He did say again at the debate that if the legal advice was that you're not going to win this in terms of taking on Westminster's blocking of the bill, that he would not do that.
So I think there's an important principle at stake here. Of course, he's going to listen to the legal advice. He has to do that. But there's an important principle at stake, which is about the democracy and the democratic mandate given to the Scottish Parliament that must be defended. A two-thirds majority passed the gender recognition bill in the Scottish Parliament. MSPs from every single political party supported it. So it's right now that Humza Yousaf, at the first time that Section 35 of the Scotland Act is being used, tests that and challenges it, because democracy is at stake. We must defend Scottish democracy and devolution.
Of course.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Of course. And you are right when you say that two-thirds voted. However, how democratic is it when the people who voted for it did not necessarily reflect the will of the public? Because we know that the public's view on that is different.
So I understand opinion polls are mixed, but the opinion poll that really matters in terms of giving a government a mandate is an election. And most political parties stood on a manifesto that was committed to reforming gender recognition and the gender recognition process. And so there was a very clear democratic mandate there from the people at the last Scottish parliamentary election to see reform of gender recognition, the Gender Recognition Act. So it's important that when two-thirds of the representatives that have been elected to the Scottish Parliament support that, have stood on a principle of gender recognition reform, that is allowed to be enacted. Should be the respect for the Scottish Parliament.
Okay. NeilGray, thanks for talking to us. That's the MSP NeilGray, who is Humza Yousaf's campaign manager. And if you like that,
you can listen to us.
We're sticking asthma. Have you forgotten?
Well done. Every Monday to Thursday on Times Radio Breakfast.